Level 1. Low support needs. You wake up, and the first thing you notice is the tag on your shirt. It's scratching. Always scratching. You've worn this shirt for years, but today that little piece of fabric feels like sandpaper against your neck. You rip it out before you even get out of bed. Welcome to your brain. You're smart. People have told you that your whole life. Maybe too smart for your own good, they say. You taught yourself to read at 4. You can name the release date of every Marvel movie ever made. You know the complete discography of your favorite band, including B-sides. But ask you what someone meant when they said, "We should hang out sometime," and you'll spend 3 days analyzing whether that was a real invitation or just politeness. School was strange. You got straight A's in subjects you cared about and nearly failed the ones you didn't. Teachers said you had potential but needed to apply yourself. What they didn't understand is that your brain doesn't work on demand. It works on interest. When something clicks, you can focus for 8 hours straight without eating. When it doesn't, reading one paragraph feels like dragging yourself through wet cement. The social stuff, that's where it gets complicated. You learned early that you were different, not in an obvious way, but in the small things. The way you didn't know when a conversation was supposed to end. The way you'd share a fact you found fascinating and watch people's eyes glaze over. The way you'd miss the joke, then laugh 3 seconds late after figuring out the punchline through logic instead of instinct. You developed scripts, actual mental scripts for social situations. Someone says, "How are you?" You say, "Good, how are you?" Someone tells you about their weekend. You ask a follow-up question. It's exhausting. Like running software manually that everyone else runs automatically. Dating is a minefield. You went on dates where you thought everything went perfectly, then never heard from them again. You went on dates where you were sure you'd messed up and they wanted a second one. You couldn't crack the code. Eventually, you realize the code isn't meant to be cracked. It's meant to be felt. Work is manageable. Sometimes great. You found a job that lets you use your intense focus. Maybe you're a programmer, a researcher, an artist. Something where being detail-oriented isn't a quirk but an asset. Your coworkers think you're a little odd but competent. Your boss appreciates that you actually read the entire manual nobody else touches. But office politics? Forget it. You can't read the room. You said something in a meeting once that you thought was helpful and everyone went quiet. Someone explained later you'd accidentally insulted the project lead. You genuinely had no idea. You were just stating a fact. The sensory stuff never goes away. Fluorescent lights give you headaches. Open office plans feel overwhelming. The sound of people chewing makes you want to leave the room. You've developed strategies. Noise-canceling headphones. Sunglasses indoors. A desk in the corner. People think you're antisocial. Really, you're just trying to make the world tolerable. You have routines. Morning coffee at the same time. Lunch at the same place. Gym on the same days. When the routine breaks, something inside you cracks a little. Not dramatically. Just enough to throw off your whole day. Your ex called you inflexible. You called it stability. Neither of you was wrong. But here's the thing. You've built a life. It looks different from what people expected, maybe different from what you expected, but it's yours. You have friends who get you, or at least accept the parts they don't get. You have work that challenges your brain. You learn to mask when you need to, and you learned when to take the mask off and just be yourself. Level 1 isn't easy, but it's livable. And some days, when you're deep in something you love, when the world fades out and it's just you and your focus, you wouldn't trade your brain for anything. Level 2. Moderate support needs. The morning alarm isn't just sound, it's an invasion. You hear it, but your body doesn't respond the way other people's bodies respond. There's a delay, a gap between wanting to move and actually moving. Your mom comes in, same time every day, same routine, same words. Without her, you might stay in bed for hours. Not because you're lazy, because the steps between lying down and being ready feel like climbing a mountain without a map. Getting dressed is a negotiation with your own senses. That blue shirt feels wrong today. The seams on those socks are in the wrong place. You have 3 outfits you can tolerate, and you rotate through them. Your mom tried to buy you new clothes last month. You wore one shirt once and never touched it again. The texture was wrong. There's no other way to explain it. Breakfast is the same thing you've eaten for 2 years. Cereal with a specific amount of milk in a specific bowl with a specific spoon. Someone used your spoon once. You couldn't eat breakfast that day. It's not about the spoon. It's about everything the spoon represents. Predictability. Safety. A world that follows rules you can understand. School was hard. Not academically, necessarily, but everything else. The hallways were too loud. The cafeteria was chaos. Fire drills sent you into meltdowns that took hours to recover from. You had an aide who helped you navigate. Someone to tell you when class was ending, when to pack up, when to walk to the next room. Without them, you got lost. Not physically, lost in the transitions. Lost in the in-between moments that have no structure. Making friends wasn't something that happened naturally. You wanted friends. You watched other kids and wondered how they did it. They seemed to communicate in a language you could hear but not speak. You had one friend who shared your interest in trains. You talked about trains for hours. They moved away and you've never really replaced them. Not because you didn't want to, because finding someone who fits is rare. Conversation is exhausting. People ask questions with no clear answers. What do you think about this? What is this specifically? From whose perspective? By the time you've processed the question, they've moved on. You've learned to mask, to hide your confusion, to nod and agree, but it costs energy. Every interaction takes something from you. By the end of a school day, you have nothing left. Meltdowns still happen. They've gotten less frequent, but they haven't stopped. Something changes unexpectedly. A substitute teacher, a new route. The grocery store rearranged its aisles. And suddenly you're overwhelmed. Not upset in the way people understand upset. Overwhelmed in a way that shuts everything down. Sometimes you go silent. Sometimes you need to leave. You need support for daily life. Reminders to shower, to eat, to take medication. Help organizing tasks that seem simple but aren't. Someone to explain what a form is asking. To make phone calls you can't make. To translate the unspoken rules of the world. You're aware of what you can't do. That awareness can be painful. You see people your age driving, working jobs, going on dates. You wonder if you'll ever do those things. Some feel possible with support. Some feel far away. But you also know what you can do. You can focus on your interests with an intensity that astounds people. You know more about your subject than most experts. You notice patterns others miss. Different isn't less. Level 2 is a balancing act. Between needing help and wanting independence. Between a world designed for others and finding your place in it anyway. Level 3. High support needs. The world comes in fragments. Sound, light, touch. They don't blend together the way they're supposed to. They hit separately, each one demanding attention, none of them making sense in combination. The hum of the refrigerator. The flicker of the light that no one else notices. The feeling of sheets against your skin. Each sensation is isolated, intense, sometimes unbearable. You don't speak with words. Maybe you never have. It doesn't mean you have nothing to say. You communicate in other ways. Sounds, gestures. A tablet with pictures you can press. Sometimes you scream when the words inside you can't find their way out. People who don't know you think you're just upset. Maybe you are. Or maybe you're trying to say something with the only tools you have. Your days are structured because structure is survival. Wake up at the same time. Same breakfast. Same sequence. When the structure breaks, when something unexpected interrupts, your whole system crashes. A caregiver calling in sick. A doctor's appointment moved. These things that seem small to others are earthquakes to you. You need help with almost everything. Getting dressed, eating, bathing, moving from one place to another. Your body doesn't always cooperate with your intentions. Sometimes you want to pick something up and your hand won't go there. Sometimes you want to stop a behavior and you can't. This isn't a choice. This is a brain and body that operate by rules you didn't write. You live with your family or in a care home. Either way, there are always other people making decisions about your life. What you eat, where you go, what you do. You have preferences, strong ones, but expressing them is difficult. When you're understood, when someone learns to read your signals, life gets better. When you're not, frustration builds. Meltdowns are different at level 3. They can involve harming yourself, not because you want to, but because the overwhelm needs somewhere to go. Caregivers have learned to watch for signs, to intervene before it escalates. Some days work better than others. School, if you go, is a specialized program. Small groups, sensory breaks. Teachers trained to work with people like you. Progress is measured differently. A new word on the tablet. Tolerating a new food texture. Making eye contact for half a second longer than before. You have moments that shine. A song comes on and something in you lights up. You move your body to the rhythm. Or you see something beautiful, the light through a window, a pattern in the floor, and you're captivated in a way that looks like joy, even if you can't describe it. People who love you learn to recognize these moments. The future is uncertain. Independence in the traditional sense probably isn't coming. But life isn't measured only by independence. It's measured by connection, by comfort, by moments of peace in a world that's often too much. You might live your whole life needing help. That's okay. Needing help isn't failure. It's just a different way of being human. If you identified with something in this video or know someone who lives this, share it with us in the comments. Sometimes just knowing someone understands already makes a difference. And if you liked the video, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us a lot. Big hug, and see you in the next video.